Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm here to inform you that Bela Lugosi's not dead.
And I am Gorilla Monchain.
Welcome to episode 168, In Your House 4.
Great White North.
It's a hard one to say together. I let Shane have it. Great White North.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I said it at the end of the last show, so I guess I should say it on this one too.
Absolutely.
You definitely got it correct on the last show. Woo! So this is the fourth In Your House produced by the WWF. It would take place on October 22nd, 1995, from the Winnipeg Arena in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, with an attendance of 10,339 people.
Well, that's like double what they had last time.
I mean, you got the bump of being in Canada.
Canada, eh?
And I assume this is one of the hillbilly parts of Canada that likes wrestling.
Winnipeg is a cow town.
Is it?
No, that's Calgary.
Calgary
Calgary's the cow town.
Yeah. I mean, that's Bret Hart's
Like, which wrestlers
hometown?
are from Winnipeg? Are there any?
I'm sure there are.
I think Jericho's from Winnipeg.
Okay.
I think you're right.
I was trying to remember, but I couldn't.
I think that's correct. But, you know, we'll have, I'm sure Davey Boy and Bret are on the show.
Somewhere, probably. Gotta represent. It's too early for an Edge sighting.
You know, yeah, you don't go to Canada without Bret Hart.
No. Be wrong.
Jericho, Omega, Sarah Stock, Rosemary, Roddy Piper,
Oh, I always forget Piper's Canadian.
Candice LeRae, Don Callis, Tom McGee.
Ooh.
Oh. Shows up in back-to-back episodes.
Uh-huh.
What the hell?
He,
Those are the big names.
yeah. Obviously some very,
Tom
very large
McGee is
names.
suddenly a big name.
I mean, only because we mentioned him last episode.
He's a large man. He's infamous and at least an interesting little story. Interesting little wrestling lore.
Infamous.
What is becoming infamous is Shane's food trip around the world.
Tis.
So we're in Canada. Did
What
you
the
bring us something Winnipeg special or just Canadian special?
Canadian special in general.
Okay.
I'm sure
That
Winnipeg
works.
has their great varieties as well. I did what I normally do, where I tried to see what is the signature sandwich of Canada, what is the signature sandwich of Winnipeg, what is the signature sandwich of Manitoba, and then I tried that with cocktails, and then I tried that with desserts, and they don't have as many lists as us Americans do. So it was a little more difficult. But I figured...
Because they like everything.
Exactly. It's the
Because they're
Great White
nice up in
North.
Canada, eh?
That's what they say.
It's delicious up there, don't you know? I contemplated donuts. I contemplated bringing up some nice Canadian kush or something like that and having us all just sit here and smoke a joint or something at the table. But
Why not?
I decided that would just require munchies anyway, so I'll just stick to the munchies because that's what I do. If you've ever heard of food reference from Canada, one of the things that you probably have heard time and time again, even though you may not ever had it, is poutine.
It's the first thing I thought of. I
So delicious.
made a joke about it, and then that's what Shane had.
Damn right.
I did not know.
Yeah, poutine is simple, delicious, comfort food, starchy, salty, flavorful. It is basically just a pile of French fries that have been smothered in gravy. Got some cheese curds in there. I threw a little bacon in this one as well and topped it with a little black pepper and some green onions. It's also good with a fried egg or a poached egg on there because you break an egg yolk on anything and it's just extra happiness right there for you.
That's the truth.
I'm telling you, that's my cure to a bad day. Either I got to have a snow cone, but I don't work at Olive Garden anymore, so it's not as easy to get those when I really, really need them, and I don't have a plentiful supply of those little cone cups like we had at Olive Garden. But yeah, a snow cone and then a perfectly cooked egg, breaking the yolk on it. It's like all your troubles wash away as that yolk floods over. But no yolks on this one, no eggs at all. Potatoes,
Original?
gravy. Yeah, potatoes, gravy, cheese curds. I use some white cheddar cheese curds. If for some reason you don't have cheese curds available, they say that you can use like a block of mozzarella, not the fresh watery mozzarella, but the actual block, and then just tear it into chunks.
Oh, yeah?
Because the fresh mozzarella will melt too much. This one you want to...
If you want to make it American style, just do cheese cubes.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking
Mozzarella.
Like fried cheese cubes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you. I just thought you meant like the cubes of like mozzarella or something.
Well, I mean,
I got you.
I went the simplistic route, and I had French fries delivered from Five Guys, but you can make your own, cook your own, grab a frozen bag of them from the freezer, throw them in the oven, whatever. The poutine gravy, it calls for, I've found several recipes for it, and all of them called for both chicken stock and beef stock, so I figured I'm going to buy some pre-made beef gravy and chicken gravy and just mix them together. And so you get a little extra saltiness from the beef, you get a little more heartiness in there. The chicken gravy smooths it out nicely. It's just good.
It's good old comfort food.
Oh, yeah.
Stick to the ribs.
It's like a nice worn-in pillow.
Yes.
Right, but right before you need to replace it, where it knows you too well.
I could see this being or I shouldn't say I can see it. I can understand why it's such a big hit up there in Canada with the cold weather happening. Yeah, it's like our
version of the chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where it's like, oh, it's so well known. You'll find it on a menu throughout all of the United States.
Need something cheap and easy on a cold day? Boom. Poutine. You need to eat your feelings after a breakup? Boom. Poutine. Can't go wrong. You want to watch a wrestling show that's set in Canada? Boom. Poutine. We're going to start it off with something awesome. Taking a bite on air won't do much because it doesn't make much noise because everything is coated in gravy, so it'll probably just have that
It'll
squishy...
sound gross.
Yeah.
Like a boot stuck in mud.
But I'm going to take a bite anyway because that's what I do.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as In Your House 4, Get Shorty and Mallrats would both be released the same weekend.
What? I did not realize that Empire Records came out before Mallrats.
Kind of crazy. Same year.
They're like just a few weeks apart, but it's just in my... Yeah, I don't know why. I definitely saw Mallrats before I saw Empire Records.
I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want something that I just found kind of surprising, that's all. That's it. Our Kevin Smith's second film, this time with some money. And it's in color.
Yep. Mallrats, love it. I mean, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan anyways, but as much as I like Clerks, I loved Mallrats just as much, maybe even more. I think partially because it was in color, and back then I had issues watching black and white movies. Yeah, you got too many awesome people in there. You got Ben Affleck, you got Jason Lee, you got... I can't think of her name right now from... who played the girlfriend?
Shannon
Jordan.
No, not either one of those.
I was gonna say Claire Devine, but that's the girl.
Yeah,
with the
Claire
eyebrows.
Forlani.
Claire Forlani.
Yeah.
Oh.
She was in two movies. This and Meet Joe Black.
Yes.
Those are the only ones I can think of.
But yeah, Joey Lauren Adams, Shannon Doherty.
Ethan Suplee.
You had
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee, yeah.
One of the people from fucking Three's Company, even, as the psychic with three nipples.
Oh, what a good scene.
Yeah.
Who played the dad? Was that Paul Ben Victor?
Oh, no, it's Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, who everybody loves Michael Rooker.
That's right.
And he's so good. I mean, this famous scene here is the ass pretzels, which is kind of the stupidest thing ever. But it is funny. It was funny to me as a kid.
Yep. Loved Mallrats.
Actually, Michael offered us pretzels before this.
They were not ass pretzels.
But they were not chocolate covered.
They were not
chocolate covered.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I accepted them.
Also, I'm not sticking my hand in my ass.
I mean, they were very buttery, though. So.
They were very buttery.
Mallrats is great. This is where Jay and Silent Bob start to take the shape that everybody knows them for today. You know, in Clerks, they were more of just the drug dealers that hung out outside of the Quick Stop, but here they are full-on crime-fighting, security, tackling, complete with like Batman gadgets and everything. So
Yeah, they become
They
become kind of more of cartoon characters as opposed to like loser drug dealers.
Yep.
They still are funny in Clerks, but in this one it's like they're just everything's punched up a little bit, is more fanciful.
And this is where the Kevin Smith universe really started to take shape, because he was linking in his previous movie in with this one as far as some of the characters, because they lived in the same area. You'd hear the names referenced in the background, or so-and-so's sister was...
The Jersey thing. I don't know what it was called. I usually
Long Island Lolita.
Yeah, it was a huge...
Little Trisha Jones.
Yeah. Seems like everybody that likes movies or is like a nerd about it had a Kevin Smith phase for sure.
Yeah.
Whereas like
I mean, if you grew up in that era, then definitely.
Like I at this point still think Clerks is probably just his best movie.
Chasing Amy.
Chasing Amy's good. I like that one too.
Red State is my favorite one.
Yeah. Red State is good. Red State's nice because he did something different.
Yeah, that's why I had to watch Red State.
And it wasn't Jersey
initially
Girl.
Because it was... Oh, God, Jersey Girl was so bad.
He also did Cop Out, which is also really bad.
Yeah.
But that's not his fault. He had to deal with Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin Smith, I've been a fan of his forever. I'm looking forward to whenever it's going to happen, Mallrats 2.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes. You got Mallrats 2 on the horizon. You've got Clerks 3 on the horizon.
Wow.
I don't know if he's ever going to come out with anything original, because I don't know. It's the last original thing was Red State.
No one's going to give it. No, Red State's not the last original thing that he did.
What was the last thing?
Well, he did the.
Like, all I can think of is the Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Yoga Hosers?
Yeah, Yoga Hosers. He did something after that as
Yoga
well.
Hosers, real piece of shit. Just saying. Just saying. It's one of those things where it's all just like Tusk. Is that him?
Yeah, well, he did Tusk, and then he did
Tusk.
I like Tusk.
And then he did Yoga Hosers.
And then isn't it the Jay and Silent Bob?
Think
like Jay and Silent
Is that
Bob
when he had his heart attack and then just had to stop doing stuff for a while?
Well, he did a segment of a movie called Holidays, which was like a horror thing.
Oh, like an anthology.
But I think that's the last. Then he did some. He's been doing TV for like the Flash series and those. So I think the next thing after that was Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah. I never.
And then he just did the Masters of the Universe new cartoon, which rave reviews for that.
I have not seen that, but there's a show I listened to, and Kevin Smith was a guest on it recently. And the reason they got him on their show, it's a popular podcast, but they got him on there because one of the hosts did the voice of Orko on that show. So they got Kevin Smith on there, and Kevin Smith had a lot of fun Hollywood stories to tell, which was a very good listen. I didn't expect it to be good because I like Kevin Smith, but find him kind of fucking annoying sometimes.
A little bit.
He says cat a lot, which is very embarrassing, but he's an old man. Yeah. But either way, he's
a cool cat.
Yeah, he's a cool cat. Cool cats and kittens. But yeah, there were some really fun stories that he told that that were very endearing.
Yeah.
Moose Jaws. That was the third one of his Canadian trilogy that he was gonna do, and then he had the heart attack.
It's crazy. In my mind, it's like, he's only made a handful of movies, but he's really got way more movies than you expect. It's just that you forget about things like Cop Out and Jersey Girl.
34 directing credits. I mean, that includes TV shows, obviously.
Yeah,
and he has
at least like 10 movies.
42 writing credits.
Yeah.
He tried to bring us his version of Superman at one point.
Which there's a documentary about that.
It's awesome.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little low budget, but it's a lot of just talking heads, but it's so worth it. It's very interesting.
What about Get Shorty?
Get Shorty, another great one.
Never
John
saw it.
Travolta. I'm trying to remember who the hell was in that
Danny
Ving Rhames,
Renee
I think, was in it.
Russo.
Oh, you know what? I saw the bad sequel where The Rock played a gay gentleman.
That's the thing, is most people remember the sequel more because of The Rock being in it.
Yeah, I only saw that because I was at a friend's house and they like rented it or whatever.
Too Much, that's what the sequel was called.
But I never saw the original. And I think
isn't
it kind
of cool? That's what
I was like, "Is it Be Cool?"
Yeah,
that's what it was called. But no, Travolta, Gene Hackman, Renee Russo, DeVito.
DeVito, that's right. Totally forgot he was in there.
I thought.
It's an interesting mob movie that You just don't expect.
It's not.
Elmore Leonard wrote the story, the original novel for it,
and the movie is probably a different tone.
I mean,
because Elmore Leonard is pretty gritty,
yeah. I mean, it's a Barry Sonnenfeld film.
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're going to get with the Barry Sonnenfeld movie.
I mean, at the best you get
Men in
out of his
Black.
family values. Oh yeah, I guess Men in Black. Are those his two best movies?
I mean, unless you want to count Wild Wild West.
I have a soft spot
Wild
for
West.
Wild Wild West, but it is not better than either of the two that I just named.
It's not even better than the song for the movie.
I mean, that's the spider finally got used. 2 middling reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, you are correct. He did the Addams Family movies, but he also did For Love or Money, Michael J. Fox.
Can't say I've seen For Love or Money.
It's a fun little Michael J. Fox. It's not his best movie.
Yeah.
I mean, best non-Back to the Future movie, which is still Frighteners. And I will take that to my grave.
I believe
Frighteners
it.
is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Barry Sonnenfeld, they're always going to be fun little jaunty movies. And this one... So you have the Elmore Leonard, grittiness, and Barry Sonnenfeld. They're, two opposite things completely, and you kind of mesh them together.
You do get kind of a happy medium.
You do get a happy medium, and it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
This is the one that I think this is what took Ving Rhames to the next level as far as his acting career.
That was probably
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, which came before that, and then he started being seen more as a character actor because he started showing up in more stuff, and then started being nominated for all kinds of things shortly after this one.
For the sake of comparison, Elmore Leonard also wrote Jackie Brown, which Quentin Tarantino did, and it's Get Shorty, I'm pretty sure, doesn't feel as gnarly as Jackie Brown does in tone.
Get Shorty, when that show, what's it called, Barry, with Bill Hader?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's what, when I first watched that show Barry, that's what it made me think it was Get Shorty.
Oh,
It
really?
was kind of similar in a sense.
It's very similar.
A hitman or whatever that wants to be an actor or, a performer of sorts. In this one,
it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah.
This was back when John Travolta was still in his string of
his hot streak after Quentin Tarantino pulled him out of obscurity,
Yes.
which he quickly fell back into. You ever seen the movie Michael?
Unfortunately,
Don't dog on Michael.
It's pretty bad.
It's very bad.
It's one of those that's so bad it's good though.
I mean, I liked it as a kid, but I think it's because that was my name.
Me Oh My.
Yeah.
Andy McDowell as a country singer.
Oh man, Andy McDowell is one of the worst actresses that I have such a crush on, but she is such a bad actress.
Michael I always had a soft spot for just because it was. I don't know.
Rewatching it is wild. It's like, what if John Travolta played an angel that fucks? Because that's what he does. He just he just bones every chick.
Weird.
Everybody's in love with him. He's kind of chubby, but he's just like a sex machine.
So weird.
It's such a weird movie.
Yep. Then you've got what's her name from All in the Family as his crazy.
Oh yeah,
lady that he lived with.
I mean, that's kind of the best part of the movie, just because I love All in the Family so much. It was so good to see her.
No.
Well, let's get to talking some wrestling.
That's Michael more Shawn Michaels,
Exactly.
hopefully.
Please, fingers crossed.
We go straight to the arena where Joni Wilson sings "Oh Canada" with footage of Canada's snowy mountains, forests, and wildlife shown.
The crowd's hot for it, even though she stinks.
Yeah, she is not good.
The Canadian anthem sounds very modern compared to most other national anthems. It almost just feels, it feels modern in melody and tone and phrasing. I don't know. It's just a thought I had while I was suffering through it.
Is Canada even 100 years old at this point?
I don't fucking know. This is a wrestling podcast,
That's
not
true.
a history podcast.
I slept through
But
history.
it is a history podcast.
It is. That is true.
It's wrestling history. It's not Canadian history.
Okay.
Even though there's lots of Canadian wrestlers.
Yeah.
The WWF logo is shown before President Gorilla Monsoon is in his office, where he announces that he cannot allow Shawn Michaels to compete due to a concussion he suffered.
Well,
And
fuck this.
real life, he was at a bar in Syracuse, New York, where he was drunk and he hit on a young lady. And the girl's Marine boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, not real sure which.
That doesn't matter. It was somebody who
took exception
Yeah.
and confronted Sean with a fight ensuing, including the Marine and his buddy slamming a car door on Michael's head.
We'll see him later. He looks rough.
Yeah. I hope
He
you're
looks
happy.
rough and like he is ashamed of himself, and he probably should be.
Well, I hope whoever the girl is that didn't call off her buddies, or her Marine and his buddies, feels extra special too. Because it's kind of fucking ridiculous that you hit on a girl and you get your head slammed in a car door by 4 or 5 guys.
But Shawn Michaels doing it at this point in
Pussies.
time, he could have really been more than just hitting on her. He could have
He
been
could
a
have.
pure dickhead.
He could have.
But, you know, that's what happens at a bar when you're drinking in Canada, I guess. I don't know.
Syracuse, New York.
Syracuse, New York. All right.
That's right. Canadian, they just say I'm sorry and give you a donut.
Mm-hmm. She's like, well, you know, we're not together anymore.
Back to Gorilla, where
It's
he
his turn.
says there will be an Intercontinental title match tonight anyways.
That's Gorilla's thing. He's like, hey, people aren't showing up. The match must go on.
That's right.
That's his gimmick.
HBK will publicly forfeit the title, followed by the president giving it to Dean Douglas.
I mean, that's fun.
The Dean will then have to defend the title versus Razor Ramon.
Rematch.
We then go outside the arena to see fans buying tickets, concessions, and merch. And we get the In Your House logo walking through the front door without knocking. And
It's a little
goes to sit on the
presumptuous.
couch. But is then sucked into the TV. There's a fun little animation there.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon welcomes us to the show, calling Gorilla's decision controversial. And then he's joined by Jerry the King Lawler, who agrees with the decision, and Jim Ross, who disagrees as well. And we head straight to our first match. Fatu versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And we haven't seen Fatu since Royal Rumble 95, episode 141. And he is making a difference now, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Telling kids to stay in school and be off drugs.
That's right.
Time to make a change is what it says. But he's wearing the Bone Skull Crew or whatever, the BSK like on his hat or something like that, which I thought was really funny. It's like, oh, I guess they're already smoking cigars and playing poker back there. Undertaker's holding court. Or I mean, Fatu honestly should be the one holding court.
Triple H has also added a atomizer to his gimmick, as we see in a clip from Superstars.
Do you think he called up one Rick Martel and asked permission?
I hope so. Otherwise, gimmick infringement, even though you're not a model.
I mean, we all know that McMahon probably came up with that anyway.
As Hunter is getting in the ring, he sprays the cologne on Fatu, so the Samoan attacks, knocking the bottle out of Triple H's hands and into Fatu's. The Samoan then threatens to spray Hunter, but instead drops it to lay it in with right hands in a back body drop, before an Irish whip sends Triple H out to the floor with a flare flip. Fatu slams Hunter's head on the steel steps before rolling back into the ring, where Triple H reverses an Irish whip, only for the Samoan to leap up and over a charging Hunter.
I love that Hunter does the flare, his little version of a flare flip, then comes in and begs off like Flair. It's like, all right, Dean Douglas is already here.
Triple H hits a back elbow and a turnbuckle smash, but we all know that's not going to work on Fatu.
He may be for the children, but he is still from
That's right.
Samoa.
He's about to Fatu up. Or fuck you up.
I love he does a little dance with shades of Rikishi right after the head slam, and I was like, I don't know if we've seen him dance before, but I noticed it this time, and I just thought of his big bright future, where he probably made the most amount of money he ever made
I just like
for
that
putting
he's
his butt in people's faces.
finally gotten a handle out of how to wear those boots.
Mm-hmm. This is our modern Fatu.
Fatu 2.0.
Fatu point? Oh, good.
The Samoan charges at Hunter, who sidesteps and tosses Fatu over the ropes, but he gets caught, hangman style, allowing Triple H to take advantage. The ref finally helps the Samoan to escape, followed by Hunter hitting a pile driver and a neck breaker before going to a chin lock.
He does like a Superman punch right before that too, which I thought was funny. I haven't really seen one of those.
Nope.
But he does one off the second rope, and I was like, huh.
Fatu fights his way free, only for Triple H to turn the Samoan inside out with a clothesline for a 2 count.
And does he go inside out for him or what? Just saying. It was Fatu.
Oh, yes.
He's still got his working boots on. He's always had working feet.
Fatu then rolls up an arguing Hunter for a near fall. Triple H goes for a pedigree, only for the Samoan to reverse into a back body drop, followed by no-selling a DDT, before nailing Hunter with kicks, a back body drop, a clothesline, and a backbreaker. Fatu goes up to the second rope for a diving headbutt for a 2 count, followed by a running cutter. The Samoan then goes up top again for another diving headbutt, but Triple H moves to avoid, capitalizing with the pedigree for the pin and the win.
I'd like to point out our creature of the night who is just staring forward very still, and he's got like his son next to him who's just wearing glasses and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a very good and cute bit that I enjoyed. Also, I want to point out that Fatu really went inside out for Triple H, and Triple H sold that clothesline like shit that he took later.
Post-match, Lawler interviews Hunter at ringside, joking about Fatu using Raid as deodorant. And Triple H agrees that the Samoan smells ghastly, calling him repulsive, when all of a sudden, Henry O. Godwin would sneak up behind them, threatening to slop Hunter. But Triple H would use the King as a shield, with Lawler begging Hogg not to do it, allowing Hunter to escape to the back.
You think Stephanie was watching Nickelodeon one day and Vince McMahon saw somebody get slimed, thought it was hilarious, and was like, we need a guy. They'll stump something gross on somebody's head.
It's a good possibility.
I mean, he just really loves this, and I don't feel like anybody else cares.
I mean,
maybe that's just
that
me.
show you're referencing is Canadian, so it's possible.
So Triple H and Godwin had been having some issues recently, mostly just because Hunter doesn't like smelly peasants. In his words.
And old Hogg needs something new.
Exactly. We go to the locker room with Doc Hendricks, British Bulldog, and Jim Cornette. And Doc says that Davey Boy has been waiting his whole life for a title match, before recapping the turn on Diesel with some footage. And Cornette then chimes in not to worry about the setup, worry about the execution, before we get footage of Bulldog pinning Diesel with Yokozuna's help. Davey Boy then calls Winnipeg a 50 below hellhole, before predicting victory and flexing for the camera.
I'm not gonna lie, Davey was able to handle his part of the little backstage interview way better than I thought he was going to.
He's probably a little cleaned up, a
I hope so.
little bit cleaner.
He said a whole lot of words
fall.
without really fucking things up, and actually had a point to what he was saying and intensity and everything. So
I mean, last time he had a large match for this company, a high-profile match, he got canned for being fucked up.
Yep.
So you'd like to think that he learned his lesson.
Absolutely. That takes us right to our second match. The smoking guns of Bart and Billy Gunn versus Razor Ramon and 1-2-3 Kid for the WWF World Tag Team Championships. The champions come out first.
Bum, bum, bum.
Foreshadowing. So Vince sends it to the back, where Razor and the Kid are standing by for comments, pointing out their matching outfits.
I know.
How cute.
I like it.
Ramon claims that they have put their problems aside, and they are going to give the Guns a fight. JR mentions that the bad guy is pulling double duty tonight, so will his focus be divided? Because remember, as Gorilla Monsoon mentioned earlier, he has that Intercontinental title match versus Dean Douglas later. So he could walk out of here as a double champ.
I'd rather see him with 2 belts than Diesel with 1. Personal opinion.
agreed.
So Ramon and 1-2-3 fake out the Guns with a handshake before the match. But once we get started, Billy and the Kid trade takedowns before making tags to the respective partners.
I noticed that the Kid does a 2-sweet. Maybe it's in the interview, and I was just like, huh. Seems pretty early.
I mean, the click's the one that...
The click's there, yeah. It's just I feel like it's the first on-screen one that I noticed anyway.
Razor and Bart do the same until Gunn is running the ropes, where 1-2-3 pulls the ropes down, causing Bart to crash out to the floor. The bad guy and the kid double team Bart in their corner, with 1-2-3 using kicks and leg drops, while Razor utilizes a fall-away slam before slamming the kid on top of Gunn as well for a 2 count.
It was Razor with the kid in the wrestling ring.
They continue their attack with chops, double back elbow, elbow drops, until Bart hits a desperation clothesline on Ramon. We then see Dean Douglas watching the match in his classroom as Bart and the bad guy collide for a double KO, allowing the Guns to make a hot tag. Billy with right hands and a back body drop on 1-2-3. Drop kick to Ramon. Body slam and a leaping elbow drop to the kid for a 2 count. Bart's back in to nail multiple neck breakers on 1-2-3 before the Guns team up for a vertical suplex drop kick combo for a near fall. Billy then misses a corner splash, so both men are down, and Razor reaches through the ropes to rally the kid up, but the ref makes him go back to his corner, allowing Bart to come into the ring, pulling Billy on top of 1-2-3 for a pin attempt. But then the bad guy points out that Bart is out of his corner to the ref. So the ref runs over there and get him into his corner, allowing Razor to come into the ring and roll the kid on top for a pin attempt for a 2 count. 1-2-3 then crawls to his corner for a hot tag, with the bad guy coming in with right hands to everybody. Billy then reverses an Irish whip, but he telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Ramon to hit a Razor's edge. But the kid is demanding a tag on the apron, and the bad guy agrees. So he makes the tag, and 1-2-3 comes in, makes the cover for a near fall, when Billy then would pull him over into a crucifix for the pin and the win.
And the kid is pissed. And still, who would have thunk it?
Post-match, 1-2-3's throwing a fit, kicking the ropes in frustration as Ramon tries to console him. He's just shoved away. And so Razor's just like, well, forget this dude. And he walks out.
Yeah, he's like, I tried to do you a favor, and you fucked it up.
Yep.
The kid then decides to attack the Guns, knocking them both out of the ring with kicks, before grabbing the title belts. The bad guy then returns to the ring, taking the championships away from him, handing them back to the Guns before convincing 1-2-3 to leave the ring.
I smell trouble.
I know. Probably the best Guns match.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like this
trying to
match a
remember.
lot.
I mean, I think they have some cool double team moves and stuff, so, I mean...
Yeah, there's a thing, and then also the kid and Razor being, connected for so long. Everything worked out great.
We go backstage where Doc Hendricks is there with cardboard cutouts of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. They're only $25. Can you imagine having HBK in your house 24/7? Kids, the Hitman can watch you sleep.
That's not creepy at all, Doc.
Not at all, Doc.
And you know what you get if you buy a cardboard cutout?
A WWF VHS tape.
Mm-hmm, a classic videotape.
Ooh, is it the same one that Alundra found in the fake bushes last time?
I think
Probably.
I think they keep them all in the bushes, underneath the bushes around Titan Tower.
Yes. With no labels.
Mm-hmm.
Doc then asks Brett for comments, but he doesn't answer, of course, because he's a cardboard cutout. And so Hendricks replies that he's feeling a little stiff. Doc then almost knocks over the Hart cutout, which causes Lawler to laugh. But the King then freaks out when Vince tells him that the Hitman would be joining the commentary team for our main event.
Uh-oh.
I mean, there's bad blood there. For maybe like 2 years now.
Yep.
Yes, at least.
We then go to our third match. Marty Jannetty
Hit him with the drop kick.
versus Goldust.
So bizarre.
So the last time we saw Marty was at Return of the Funker, episode 145. And the last time for Goldust was at WCW Uncensored, as Dustin Rhodes, episode 146.
Was his last match the uncensored with the in the
Yes.
back of the truck?
The King of the Road match.
Yeah.
He got fired soon after.
He got fired after that.
Trailers for sale or rent.
That's right.
McMahon would then send us to some pre-recorded comments from the Golden One, where Goldust tells Mr. Rocker it's time for his Hollywood premiere. It will be lights, camera, and so much action. Mr. DeVille, I'm ready for my close-up. Remember the name. Goldust.
I mean, the Goldust sexy promo. It's so funny. As a kid, I liked Goldust. Didn't know fucking Dustin Rhodes. Didn't know who the fuck Dusty Rhodes was. I just thought Goldust was cool and weird. And knowing now that Dustin Rhodes did this for so long, it's so weird because he is a large cowboy. And they're saying he's androgynous, but he does not look androgynous at all. He looks like a 6 foot tall man. A 6'3" man with meat on his bones. Very bizarre person for this gimmick. Should be like a pretty boy like Rick Martel or something like that. It's really weird. And in hindsight, but it's because he's fucking committed, and it's so the polar opposite. I'm just fascinated by it since going and watching, Dustin Rhodes from the beginning of his career to now. It blows my mind, and I appreciate it even more than I ever thought I would.
Just think about it. What if Dustin Rhodes had become the Undertaker, and then old Mark Calloway came over and had to dress up as the androgynous one, the bizarre one, the golden one?
I mean,
crazy.
Who knows? I can't imagine Mark Callis doing Goldust.
I can't see him playing this character at all.
But at the same time, we could if you told us in 1994 that this is what Dustin Rhodes is going to do, we'd be like, yeah, fucking right.
Yeah. See, this is where WWF needs to have their own little what if show.
Right. So this is actually Goldust's first televised match.
They're obviously, they know he can work, so it's not like we're testing him out. It's like, yeah, the guy is the best wrestler in his family.
Who better of a workhorse to put him against than fucking Marty Jannetty?
But it also means that it's the first time for most people to see his interest. So we get all the glitter and the robe and the wig
and the stars that say Goldust that are projected onto the ground. It is quite the entrance. Yeah. Even compared to most of the stars in the WWF for the last 10 plus years, it's like, oh, this one is one of the only ones that's gotten the fanfare that the Undertaker's got.
Yeah, I always loved it when the Goldust would start falling from the ceiling. That was just one of the coolest effects that I'd ever got to see live.
Yeah, and it looks great on those old shitty cameras.
So as the match gets going, the Golden One charges at Marty, but he fends it off, hitting a back body drop and a clothesline to send Goldust out to the floor to regroup. Back in the ring, the Golden One stares down Jannetty before using his size advantage to beat down Marty, going for a body slam, only for Marty to float over to hit a hurricanrana. The two trade strikes before Goldust with a clothesline that turns Jannetty inside out. The Golden One then starts whipping Marty around the ring, raking his eyes across the ropes, hitting an elbow drop for a 2 count, before applying a chin lock to wear Jannetty down, who fights his way free, only for the Golden One to deliver a back body drop. Marty is thrown from the ring, with Goldust following out to slam Jannetty's head into the steel steps. The Golden One then goes to bring Marty back in, but Jannetty fights back, snapmaring Goldust over the top rope, before slamming his head into the steel steps as well. Marty looks to continue the punishment with a bulldog on the concrete, only for the Golden One to shove him off into the ring post. Before suplexing him back into the ring. Goldust goes back to a chinlock until Jannetty is able to counter into a backdrop, followed by sending the Golden One into the corner, where he follows in, only for Goldust to move, sending Marty flopping over the ropes. Now the King has been talking about Bela Lugosi, and we finally see an impersonator in the crowd he has been talking about.
Yeah, I love that. backdrop, like telegraph backdrop spot. It was a different flavor on the telegraphed backdrop.
Goldust then nails a DDT for a near fall, but Marty comes right back with a rocker dropper before heading up top. But he sees that the Golden One is getting up, so he lands on his feet and nails an elbow drop to the back of the head for a 2 count. Multiple clotheslines by Jannetty, snapmare, and he heads up top again, going for a flying fish drop. But Goldust gets a boot up into the chin, followed by a front suplex for the pin and the win.
I love that he does the thumbs down.
Our commentators then plug the AOL chat
Fuck yeah.
and the Superstar Hotline, where we see the Smoking Guns and 123 speaking with fans. Vincent sends us to a video package where on Raw, 2 weeks earlier, Mabel and Yokozuna had teamed up to take out The Undertaker with multiple leg drops, headbutts, and splashes. So as you remember, Undertaker was supposed to face King Mabel on this pay-per-view. But they played up that they injured him in this match on Raw. But actually, real life, at a house show, Mabel had legitimately injured Taker with a clothesline, and Taker would sustain a fractured orbital bone.
It's a hell of a clothesline, Mabel.
Yep.
He's got a history. He's the Nia Jax of 1995.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And he gets like at least another 2 gimmicks, right?
At least one more.
Yeah, at least one more. One very memorable one. For good or bad. He still wears a trash bag.
Yes.
So we don't get that match that we were supposed to get. But we do get this match. Our 4th one. King Mabel with Sir Mo versus Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji. So Vince sends it to the back where Camp Cornette and Jim claims fans want to see this match. And
Totally.
Sure. It says Gorilla Baboon signs the match because he's scared to have 2 guys this big on the same side. It's like, well, at least Cornette knows how to talk because these guys can barely move.
Yep. So both men trade slaps and punches before Yoko sends Mabel to the floor with a clothesline. Back in the ring, King Mabel retaliates with punches and a jumping clothesline before nailing him with a right hand that causes Zuna to fall out to the floor. Once he returns, Mabel delivers a corner splash, tries for a second one, but Yokozuna fires out with a clothesline. Yoko then goes for a leg drop, only for King Mabel to move and try for an elbow drop, but Zuna moves. The 2 trade headbutts before Mabel hits a botched bulldog that sends Yokozuna out to the floor.
These big boys gone out to the floor a lot.
King Mabel follows out where Yokozuna shoves him off into a ring post.
Posted.
While Mo and Cornette have a confrontation behind them, with Jim ending up on the concrete, where Zuna falls on top of him. All of a sudden, the bell rings, and the ref has called for the double countout. Post-match, Vince calls this a less than stellar match, and I'd like to say I'd rather watch the Bunkhouse Stampede.
Ouch.
At least it wasn't long.
Both men then return to the ring, where they stare at each other until their managers calm them down. So they hug and raise each other's arms.
Yep. Yep.
Where are they? Japan?
Ring of Honor? I don't know.
We get an ad for Survivor Series. And Undertaker will return, and Bret Hart will face the WWF champion. All while being sponsored by Milton Bradley's Karate Fighters.
Karate Fighters!
Bum, bum, bum. I have a vivid memory of getting Karate Fighters as a kid. And I was playing with my friend, and the one that I had was, like, flawed, so I just lost every single time. Like, you just, like, if you barely touched the button, then it, like, sprung out or whatever
So
it
is
did.
it like Rock'em Sock'em Robots just with Karate Kids instead?
It's basically like a square ring, and then you just, like, control these shitty plastic toys by swinging them back and forth, but if it kicks or punches like the chest, then the guy loses. The head pops out.
That's right. I remember that.
But I just had this vivid memory of playing and my friend's mom just like purchasing it because it was like raining outside. She was like, something for you guys to do. I'll buy you a board game. And we got that, and it sucked because I was like the blue one, and it was faulty, and I kept losing.
It's cheating!
Yeah. I mean, I realized that it was faulty after a while, but it wasn't fun.
McMahon also mentions there will be a wild card match where friends and foes will be randomly paired together.
Battle Bowl, huh?
Friends and foes. He didn't say heels or faces. We're going to have a weird... They're going to be fighting on the side.
We then go to the ring where Doc Hendricks is there with President Gorilla Monsoon. And he introduces Dean Douglas and Shawn Michaels. HBK's looking bruised and sad as he enters, almost like he's about to cry.
Oh, look at that leather Pele jacket. He probably just cried after he paid fucking like $3,000 for that ugly jacket. That awesomely ugly jacket.
After a few pauses, Shawn holds the belt out, with Gorilla going to take it, only for Douglas to snatch it away and pose with it on the turnbuckles.
The crowd is just chanting like, "Don't hand it over, Shawn."
But this means that Dean Douglas is...
And new! I feel like he doesn't deserve such a big and new, but it is what it is. Yeah. We can't buck tradition.
Michaels watches on without saying a word before he walks down the aisle, turning to look back at the ring.
He's slow playing it.
Sad.
Yep. So is Bela and Son, who are just standing in still, staring right at the hard cam.
This is the start of Shawn losing his smile. Maybe.
This guy's got no dopamine left in his brain.
But that leads us right into our fifth match. Dean Douglas versus Razor Ramon for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. So Douglas was already out in the ring, so does that mean that he came out first?
I believe so.
I mean, he came out first, but...
Foreshadowing?
But he can't give him the belt afterwards, with Razor just standing there.
I mean, you can have Razor come out and then bring everyone else out, because you already know what the match is going to be.
Yeah, but it's weird for Razor to just stand there for this 10-minute segment.
He could support his friend, Shawn Michaels.
That's right.
Good point. He could just tap him on the shoulder and be like, "It's all right, buddy.
I'll win this for you."
Good point, Matthew.
For us.
We saw, big burly Razor have little cute otter Shawn on his shoulders last match.
Damn right.
So the bad guy rushes the ring, laying it in with right hands to send Dean out to the floor to regroup. Back in the ring, Razor begins to work the arm, cutting off Douglas's rallies and returning to the arm. Dean finally escapes with a cheap shot and stomping away on Ramon, but the bad guy catches Douglas's attempt at a crossbody, delivering a fallaway slam, followed by a clothesline to send Dean out to the floor. Razor then stops Douglas from entering the ring multiple times, dropping him throat first across the ropes and slamming his head into the turnbuckle, before finally bringing him back in with a vertical suplex. Ramon hits a hard Irish whip before kicking Dean out to the floor, falling out where he takes a bottle of water from the commentators to dump it over the head of Douglas.
He's just trying to wake him up.
Back in the ring, the bad guy hits an atomic drop and goes for the Razor's edge, but Dean counters with a back body drop to send Ramon over the ropes to the floor. Douglas follows out to keep up the attack by ramming the bad guy's back into the apron before rolling him into the ring, where Dean would head up top, but jumps right into a choke slam by Razor, which puts them both on the mat. Back to their feet, Ramon gets in some right hands before setting Douglas on the top rope for a super back suplex. But Dean elbows the bad guy away and comes off with a crossbody, only for Razor to use the momentum to roll on top for a 2 count. Douglas comes back with a drop kick for a near fall as Ramon gets his boot on the ropes. Dean then goes for a clothesline, only for the bad guy to duck and hit a back suplex, draping an arm over Douglas for the pin and the win. even though Dean's boot was under the ropes.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, they show the replay, and it's
very much under the ropes.
pretty perfect. And on the show, they didn't do an and new.
But we will. And new!
I just thought it was so funny that they didn't do the announcer didn't do an and new.
Four-time Intercontinental Champion.
Post-match, Lawler's complaining about the leg under the ropes, with Vince disagreeing until he sees that replay, but then responds that the referee's decision is final.
Yeah, I mean, it's painfully obvious.
We then see Shawn Michaels speaking on the hotline, still very sad.
Very sad.
So
hey, man, he did it to himself.
So some real-life stuff here. Dean Douglas, the Click.
Not friends.
They did not click.
Shocker.
Yeah.
So there were rumors that, I don't know if you guys realized while watching this match, but Dean Douglas got no offense.
Yep.
He got barely any offense. He did his job well, but no offense. He had like
So there were
slammed him
rumors
into the apron once.
That Razor basically sabotaged this match.
Also, there's
in protest.
There's at least two spots where he's got Razor, and maybe it's like a wrist lock or ab stretch type of thing, and he paintbrushes the shit out of him. And he
does it a couple times.
He does it a couple times, and it is like a receipt for no reason is a way to put it. Because like I saw it and I was like, damn, that's pretty brutal. But I didn't quite know that they didn't get along. But you could probably assume that.
Basically, what I heard was that Dean Douglas, they were doing some house shows. Dean Douglas pulled out because he said his back was hurting, and basically the Click went to him and was like, you work. You don't get special treatment. We're working. You need to work. And basically that's what started the heat between them. And
yeah. Still, the paintbrush. And what if the guy's back was really hurt? I mean,
I'm sure it probably actually was.
Yeah, I mean,
back in those days.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you work.
Yeah.
Unless you
have a broken orbital and you're the Undertaker.
You just couldn't go.
Have some pills.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Exactly. Bret Hart then comes down to join the commentators table, and he will face the winner of the main event at Survivor Series. And Lawler acts like he's going to confront the Hitman, but instead he runs away, with Bret getting a few shots in. The King tries to sneak back a few times, but each time Hart would just chase him back down the aisle.
That's just so dumb.
Yeah. But Bret Hart's rocking a really cool hockey jersey.
Yeah. I don't know which team it was, but
no, it was like the Bret Hart one.
The Hitman.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was like black and pink look so good all the time.
Well, I think there's a Calgary minor league team that they actually changed their name to the Hitman.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
cool.
Calgary Hitman.
Damn. Yeah.
And they do the pink and black.
Yeah, this is the first time I remember seeing him in the hockey jersey, but you know, we'll see Bret Hart in hockey jerseys later in his career.
So we go to our sixth match. The British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith with Jim Cornette versus Diesel for the WWF Heavyweight Championship. And Doc Hendricks is in the back modeling a Two Dudes with Attitude t-shirt before getting a word with Diesel. And Doc asks his mindset, and Big Daddy Cool says he's feeling awfully funky before following through the curtain.
Okay.
Oh yeah, what did that tell us at all?
That
maybe he's not in the right
No.
mindset. Funky, a good thing or bad thing?
Who knows? Maybe just smells. So we get a feeling out process to start until Diesel nails Davey Boy with a forearm, catches a crossbody attempt to slam Bulldog down to the mat multiple times, sending Davey Boy rolling out to the floor to regroup. Big Daddy Cool is then tripped up by the Bulldog. Goes to crotch him on the ring post, but Diesel is too strong, pulling Davey Boy into the ring post.
Posted.
Back in the ring, Big Daddy Cool keeps up the attack with corner clotheslines and elbows when Cornette causes a distraction, allowing Bulldog to attack the knee. Davey Boy then delivers a drop kick that sends Diesel over the ropes, where he stumbles into the commentator's table, with the Hitman trying to keep him from falling over. But Big Daddy Cool thinks he has other thoughts, so he just shoves Hart away.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Diesel,
Not
really,
cool, Big
Diesel
Daddy.
really needs to Because he did the same thing with Lex. Lex came down to help him.
Yeah.
I don't need your fucking help.
He's paranoid.
Exactly.
He's got that belt, and he doesn't want to let it go. And he probably knows
everybody's after him.
He's not moving the needle.
Nope.
This distraction allows Bulldog to chop block Diesel again on the floor and start working the leg once they're back in the ring. Davey Boy seems to be trying to roll Big Daddy Cool over into a sharpshooter, but even Brett thinks it's a weird way to do so.
It's not your move, pal.
Yeah, that was... I don't... like, trying to watch him do that, it hurt my head watching him attempt to do a sharpshooter.
Diesel finally frees himself, but is then stomped out to the floor, where Cornette drops an elbow across the leg before stomping away on it.
Oh, come on. Yeah, a little corny bump.
Bulldog heads out to the floor to slam Big Daddy Cool's head into the steel steps before Jim attacks the leg again, when Diesel would roll back into the ring where Davey Boy would continue the punishment. Bulldog with a Boston Crab, with Big Daddy Cool literally under the ropes, but he decides to power his way out.
He's
Hulk Hogan in it.
He's just a little too big for this ring is 2 feet bigger than a WCW ring, but he's just like 7 feet tall. It is what it is.
Well, he never spent more than like a minute and a half in a WCW ring at a time, so...
Yeah, there was no chance he was getting put in a Boston Crab.
Nope.
Davey Boy then hits a leg drop for a 2 count. Diesel would fire up momentarily, but another chop block would keep him down, allowing Bulldog to continue to work that leg, when Diesel would kick Davey Boy from behind to send him out to the floor. Back in the ring, Big Daddy Cool is back to his feet, and he leaps at Bulldog, who just moves, allowing him to regain control.
And he does a pretty good job of selling his leg, considering he's taken so much damage to it. And JR puts it over by saying that he's had more than 10 operations on his knees since high school, which I'm like, I don't know if that's true, but either way, it's helping put over leg damage.
Diesel starts to use the heel of his boot to free himself, when Davey Boy goes for a suplex, only for Big Daddy Cool to reverse it for one of his own. Diesel would then duck a clothesline and drop Bulldog with a back suplex. But Davey Boy is back to his feet first, attempting that sharpshooter again, with Hart rightfully mocking it, with Big Daddy Cool powering out once more.
You're not going to win with a move that you haven't mastered.
Nope.
Bulldog then tries to pick up Diesel for a slam, but Big Daddy Cool falls on top of him for a 2 count. Followed by Davey Boy trying again for the running power slam, only for Diesel to slither out the back door and deliver a big boot. Cornette would jump on the apron so Big Daddy Cool would slingshot him into the ring, grabbing him by the tie, when Bulldog would charge in with a forearm. Diesel would sidestep, causing Davey Boy to collide with Jim. Big Daddy Cool with right hands, and limps his way into a body guillotine of the Bulldog on the ropes that sends him out to the floor.
Jim, you were really earning your 10% until you got up on that apron.
Diesel then tries for a Bulldog, but Davey Boy shoves him off into the ring post.
Posted.
But then he turns and slaps Brett. And Hart just responds by attacking the Bulldog, causing the ref to call for the disqualification.
Oh, Brett.
So Diesel is our winner.
I know, and I think that this was kind of potentially the best Diesel match yet, but obviously either Bulldog didn't want to take the pin or they didn't want for him to be pinned because they probably weren't completely sold.
Probably just didn't want him to be pinned.
Yeah, but I think that this was one of the better Diesel performances because he was working from underneath, sold the leg. It's not a fucking banger or anything.
Okay.
But I'm just saying.
That's an opinion.
I'm just saying. Yeah. We're still talking Diesel, so
Post-match, Diesel re-enters the ring and pulls the Hitman off Davey Boy. Then decides to get into a fist fight with Brett. Officials, the Smoking Guns, even Henry O. Godwin would all try to intervene, to no avail. Vince would say his goodbyes and we fade to black, even as the two men would continue to attack each other. So I ask you gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of In Your House 4?
Well, before we talked through it, I remembered enjoying this, and I wrote down at the end of my notes. I said, well, it was much better than In Your House 3. And it probably was a little better still, but it's really, it's not, maybe I was just in the mood for some wrestling when I watched it. Maybe I just
perhaps you were.
Maybe I just
I
really
was
love
too,
Goldust.
but-
Maybe the tag match was so good at the beginning, or better than I expected, that I had some rose tinted glasses. At least it wasn't a 3-hour show.
We'll give it that one in the pro column.
Yes.
Shane?
I forgot about Yoko and Mabel. That's a real problem.
Yeah. This one, I said it the last time on the last show, where it felt like this just didn't need to happen. It could have easily been done on Raw or something else, and this show specifically felt even worse than the last one, just because, I mean, nothing really happened on the last one, and then you're expecting something to happen on this one, and then nothing happens on this one either, with the exception of, you know,
I mean,
Goldust is here.
Dean Douglas is good.
He's
That's
good,
an
but he
opinion.
didn't get to show any good.
He didn't get to show any good. I just mean his character work is good. Like,
Yeah.
people hate him. But, yeah, his match was just getting potentially legitimately beat up by Razor Ramon.
The most exciting or best, I'll save that for, I guess, best
We'll talk
moments.
about here in like 2 seconds
Yeah,
because
there's not a whole lot to say.
this is my least favorite show that we have ever watched.
More than Bunkhouse.
More than Bunkhouse.
Damn. I can't say I feel the same way, but I'm not here to argue with you.
His Bunkhouse was what, like a 3-hour show?
It was a 3-hour show.
and this
The
one
best
has-
the best match was a Larry Zbyszko match, which was not good. But literally on this show, what is the best match on this show?
I like the tag match.
Fatu and Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Oh, that's it. That one's good too. I already forgot about it because I was thinking.
Literally,
of
I feel like this show,
I'm trying to figure out, the tag team
like
match.
literally every match gets just a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse. I mean, Yokozuna Mabel's the worst one.
Yeah.
But that
worse
shouldn't even
than-
happened.
Than Diesel and Bulldog. But after that match, I was already sick and tired of this show. And then we have Bulldog basically, he only knows how to do one thing to a leg, and that's a chop block. And when the entire 17 minutes that you're working a leg and you don't have any leg work moves, do something else.
You maybe shouldn't have set this up as a limb match, or at least not
Exactly.
a leg match. I'd rather see him
And so-
try to pull on armbar.
Apparently it needed to be a sharpshooter match. 'Cause,
Fucking horrible.
yeah.
Here's the thing. McMahon threw his headset down in disgust when this show was over.
Good.
I wanted to do the same thing if I had had a headset on.
And,
'Cause
yeah.
it was horrible.
I hope that he is after this is like, oh, I need to right the ship, because this is Vince McMahon that still has a head on his shoulder and not a brain full of mashed potatoes. So there's opportunity for him to be like, all right,
Maybe
like
this is when
I
he
need,
realizes
we need
that
a, yeah.
Maybe we don't.
We can't
need to
have
do
two of
this
these in a row.
every month.
Well, I don't know if we're going to get that.
Well, no, I just mean in your house.
Yeah, we're still gonna get him.
Maybe we're gonna get something in between.
I mean, in your house, it only goes to what, 6 of them?
No, there's like 23 of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it still goes on for a couple of years.
So did they change the name?
No.
Okay, my bad.
Well, they start getting their own names instead of being numbered.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, I know by 97, it's like the name and then hash and then like colon in your house.
Yeah, yeah.
And then by
I think it's 97 was the
98.
last one, 98.
Yeah.
98, I think
They start
just
just
go
naming things.
just being their
Yeah,
own
that's-
names.
St.
what I remember having,
Valentine's
like,
Day
yeah.
Massacre.
Vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo!
Yay! Don't watch this show.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fucking horrible.
Watch Goldust's entrance.
That might be the best thing on this
I'd
show.
say wait a little longer because Goldust entrance gets better.
Yeah, but it's just, you
Because
know,
I even
he's
thought that as I was watching it was, I kind of forgot his entrance wasn't as big and boasting as it once became.
yeah,
Or it
and
eventually became.
but it is cool that this is his first match and they are really going for it with him, probably because they know that he can work, and then also the crowd immediately fucking is anti-Goldust. Granted, they've probably been doing the vignettes for a couple weeks and stuff, but he is a little too weird for everyone.
You guys are upset about a 2-week vignette. Just you wait 27 years until you hear the name Veer. You get 7 months of fucking coming soon programs, promos.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. Can anyone find a best moment on this show?
Shawn Michaels being hilariously sad.
Yes.
We talked about Gold a second ago.
Yes.
Razor paintbrushing Dean, even though I don't think that's very nice, because I like Dean Douglas.
I think it's fucking hilarious.
It is hilarious, but,
Hunter using Lawler as a shield for Hog.
Yeah.
Davey Boy's one line, 50 below hellhole, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, there's these little itty-bitty moments.
Considering I'm not a very big fan of Diesel, I do think that the fact that he even sold his leg for Davey Boy's horseshit offense, I think he did it very well.
How did he sell it? He just laid on the mat and let Davey Boy hold on to his leg.
Well, no, I mean towards the end of the match when he's selling the injury.
I mean, the one time
when he's limping,
when he does the limping body guillotine. Okay.
Yeah, but I think that we're sifting for corn in a turd.
Yeah, it's
So
you're only gonna get about 3 cents.
3 kernels.
heelish turn by 1-2-3 Kid. Ish.
Yeah, I think that was good.
That match should have been good, but the ending just totally, the logic behind that ending is just totally dumb.
Yeah, the Kid being so boastful, and it's like, well, you didn't just lay the guy out. So it seems kind of silly, but if that's gonna turn him heel, then he's being a shit.
And I feel like Goldust match. I'm happy for the debut of Goldust, but
it was not.
He was trying to change styles from what his WCW style was.
Yeah.
And he didn't quite have it yet.
And the match
just dragged.
Yeah, he didn't quite. It wasn't as crisp as we know he can be.
Yeah.
But trying to change his moveset makes sense. We don't want to see the same.
When you're in a debut match against Marty Jannetty, who gets beat by everybody, and you can't beat him in under 10 minutes. That's not a good look for you to start off with.
He did that drop down thrust, but it wasn't the way you see it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the way you see it in your head when you think about it. It was like, oh, okay, well,
he didn't really have a finishing move.
Yeah, that front suplex was bad.
That's a dumb way to. Front suplex sucks anyway.
We're looking for best moments, aren't we?
Yes.
I mean, at this point, we're kind of combining the two because, literally, we.
Yeah. Why even bother with worst moments?
I mean, worst moment. Yeah.
I mean, most disappointing.
Flip a coin, let it land anywhere.
How do you decide that Mabel and Yokozuna is something that you want to put on our screens for 5 minutes? It was 5 minutes. And it was still too long because they just kept knocking each other out to the floor, then to have to climb back in the ring, and for both of them to go because they were blown up after 30 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a reason that they've been in tag teams.
And then the hug it out bitch ending on that match was just stupid.
Yes.
It's like, are they trying to turn these guys into a tag team? What a horrendous idea.
Hey kids. The Hitman can watch you sleep. That's
so fucking creepy.
Dog.
Hey, you get a free tape.
I don't know. Do you get a free tape or do you get to be taped?
Brett's a good family man. He's not a creep.
Yeah. That doesn't mean whoever's making those things is. We all know how those Disney cover boxes turned out.
That was just one.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean,
I can't do it anymore. What's our best performer for the night? Shawn Michaels, because he actually...
Yes,
because
he was legitimately sad, and it was hard to look at his super sad, stupid face, because he knew he fucked up.
Though, if you think about it, and spoiler for future endeavors, Shawn never really ever loses a title.
Huh.
He always hands it over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think it has something to do with Shawn being Shawn Michaels? And,
yeah. I think this is the
in certain cases, yeah.
Because think about it. he didn't hand over the IC title the first time. He left, and then he came back and won it on the ladder match.
Yeah. And it was,
he didn't lose it this time. He handed it over.
Yeah, it's the combination of
he didn't lose the tag team belts as the Rockers because they never
technically won it.
Yeah, that's funny. It's the combination of Vince liking Shawn on screen so much and Shawn being a shithead and exploiting being able to get away with it. But we all know that.
The tag team with Diesel, he just threw the belt in the trash. They never lost it technically.
Yeah,
and then we saw it last show. They won it, and then they were like, no, it wasn't actually a win. So he's actually been a 2-time tag team champion, and he's never lost the tag team belts.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's never lost the IC belt.
He's like, he's got a bit of some head the size of Hogan.
I'm not hating on Shawn Michaels.
No.
I just find it very convenient and kind of funny.
Yeah.
To think about.
Absolutely. It's a very good point. Very, very solid and interesting point that I've never hadn't really thought of.
He does take that big loss. It catapults somebody into superstardom. So maybe that's
good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what they're thinking at all. It will, but no. It's not what they're thinking. How about most surprising on this show?
I mean, Marty Jannetty came back, I guess. Marty Jannetty comes back every once in a while.
When Goldust showed up on my screen,
I mean, that was the
promo.
most surprising. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, cool, yes. Goldust's here." And then the match happened, and I was.
It was like, oh, maybe he should have.
Yeah, there you go. Most surprising that nothing lived up to the hype that it should have.
And yeah, it's like maybe Goldust should have had another couple weeks of house shows as Goldust or something.
Maybe Goldust should have had a real opponent and not a returning Marty Jannetty that nobody cares if he wins or loses.
That's probably a good one as well.
Yeah, you think the idea is like, oh, well, both these guys are good workers. We'll just put them in there together.
I mean, they're probably both decent workers, but
they probably haven't. Yeah, it's like what?
They
how
haven't
wrestled before? Yeah, it's not like Dustin was.
Yeah, because he was a face when he was there before. So yeah, I mean they worked in the company at the same time back in the 1990.
I forgot that Dustin was even ever in WWF before. Weird, not that weird, but I mean he was partying with his dad.
Yeah, he was a babyface 21-year-old or whatever hell he was at the time.
Yeah, he also wasn't the Dustin Rhodes that he would become. Still good, but you know he honed. Yeah,
the natural.
What a good song.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Matt's feeling about the show. It's like two snoozers
in your house.
I know. We whatever's next. Hopefully,
that's why you wanted to record outside.
Bring some.
We're sick of being in your house.
Bring some ruckus.
We need to be outside.
Yeah. Bring some ruckus, or at least maybe some the ambience of crickets
alcohol
to match our feelings on the show.
Yeah, I really should have brought an alcohol, but in this case, I wanted to eat my feelings in fries and gravy.
We definitely did that. And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Ric Flair had won the WWF Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble and held the title for 77 days when Macho Man Randy Savage would challenge for the title at WrestleMania 8 on April 5th, 1992. In the lead-up, the Nature Boy had taunted Macho Man by claiming he had a prior relationship with Savage's wife, Miss Elizabeth, even going as far to say he had certain pictures of her. The match would start in a brawl with Mr. Perfect interjecting himself to help Nate at times. Flair would be sent into a guardrail to bust him open, so Macho Man would attack the cut before hitting a flying elbow drop, only for Mr. Perfect to pull Savage out of the ring to stop the pin. Perfect would then toss a foreign object to the Nature Boy, who would use it on Macho Man, before Mr. Perfect would also use a chair across the knee of Savage. Miss Elizabeth would arrive to help just as Flair would lock on the figure 4, but eventually Macho Man would reverse the hold, causing Nate to break it. The Nature Boy would go back to work on the leg before yelling to Liz, "This is for you, baby," when Savage would block a punch and roll up Flair with a handful of tights for the pin to become the 20th WWF Heavyweight Champion. Macho Man would defend his title versus a variety of opponents for the next few months, until the Nature Boy would finally get a rematch. Next week, Halloween Havoc 1995.
Oh, I'm already scared.
I mean, yeah, we haven't had any great Halloween Havocs.
No, we
But,
have not.
you know, at this point, I would love to see Abby in an electric chair. At least it's fun and funny bad.
Do we get to spin the wheel and make a deal again?
I hope not.
I mean, it was fun to sing. It's fun to yell.
We have a coal miner's daughter on a pole match or whatever the hell it
Sissy
was.
Spakes will not be there.
Yeah, I was gonna say Vince Russo hasn't shown up yet to put a lady on a pole match.
I mean, who knows? We may be able to get Loretta Lynn. She's with old what's his face from that one band. I can't think of. Jack White. She's done music with him.
Oh yeah,
which means maybe she'd do music with Billy Corgan. So maybe she'll show up in.
Where are we going?
I don't know.
Okay.
NWA.
Yeah. All right.
I keep waiting for this to get to a point where I'm like,
I'm half
reverts
asleep.
back to
Did
WCW.
Loretta Lynn work with Jack White or?
Yes.
Okay, I know that.
He produced her album that got her
it-
lots of Grammy
Yeah.
love.
Who's that? Wanda Jackson did as well. That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
The Queen of Rockabilly from Oklahoma, from our very own Oklahoma.
I don't know who she is.
It's good. You should check her out.
Is JR a fan? Because I may not have heard of her.
I mean, you would think he would be. It's like old country rockabilly, like early, not like lame, like wear creepers and slick back hair, Brian Setzer Orchestra stuff. It's more country.
Some good shit.
You know.
Music from this week's show is In Your House by Jim Johnston.
In Your House.
And Davey Boy actually won the main event, so we'll play his music. Rule Brittania by Leonard Bernstein.
I mean,
It's at least a different song, guys.
it's
Yes.
probably the only time we'll have Davey Boy close out the show.
It's the second time, actually.
Oh, yeah. Shit, yeah, because I forgot that he got fired,
After his last main event.
but he did win, right? Mm-hmm.
If you
He
like
had
this,
to. They were in Wembley Stadium. That's crazy.
That's right. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your lovely podcast set. If you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Recipes. We are going to Detroit, Michigan, and I just brought Detroit style pizza
Well,
last week.
it is
so...
Halloween,
Whoops.
so you could just do a bowl of candy corn.
I think we discussed this last time.
I
too.
know.
how about mini corns?
How about boiled circus peanuts?
You could peel some grapes and call them eyeballs.
There you go. See? Look at that.
I don't know.
It's your choice.
Also,
I mean, we're always surprised.
We'll find out.
To buck tradition, I'd like to inform you that I normally say 5 stars or no stars. Do whatever you'd like this week.
No, they're not judging.
They're not judging.
They're judging us.
I know, but
So-
we weren't even like we
went through the trouble, so you don't have to watch it ever unless you really
Yeah,
want to.
this one you could probably hear the wind.
I feel like we
lose
changed
our
Michael's
sails.
opinion on this show.
I think that I was just in a good mood when I watched it. I don't know.
Because he was all talking like, I liked 4 better than 3 earlier.
Yeah.
Like,
Nope.
Sometimes
we
it's
were
one of
like,
those
well,
things where it's like,
that's an opinion.
Yeah. Sometimes you're in the mood. Sometimes I watch a good show and I'm just like super not in the mood to watch a wrestling show. So I'm like, yeah, that was obviously good, but like sometimes you watch a bad show, but you're having a good time. I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, it is what it is.
But if you'd like to do any of that stuff, you can always email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
Later. Slide into those DMs.
Oh, spook.